Student athletes are considered the best of the best, but are they really? They might be athletically wise. When it comes to academics, they lack the determination it needs to get through college. An example of this is UNC. The University of North Carolina actually has something called phantom classes, which is where their student athletes don't have to show up to class, yet they still receive passing grades to compete in their athletic program. That's not right, because if that were any other student, they would be automatically dropped in a heartbeat and failed. Student athletes also tend to take easier classes just to continue playing their program to keep up a high GPA than their peers, but even though they take these easier classes, they still tend to have lower GPAs. And even though their lower GPAs might fall between that of the contract they sign when they sign with the school, the teachers and coaches cover up for them and allow them to play. And according to Time magazine, there are actually 20 schools under investigation for academic fraud for allowing their athletes to continue playing even though they know their GPA has fallen below the quota. A perfect example of their lack of determination is from Ohio State University. A couple years ago, one of their quarterbacks, Cardell Jones, actually tweeted that he came to Ohio State to play football, not to play school. He did not care whatsoever about his academics. He just wanted to play his sport. And that's fine and all, but you go to college for a reason. You go to college to get a degree. When your sport over, what else is there going to be for you? Nothing. And that's the problem. Most student athletes, they want to become famous, and they look at this when they look at their prospects for schools. A great example is UK basketball. They have the highest number of freshmen who go pro when it comes to basketball. And so when students look at University of Kentucky as an option for college, they're going to see that and be like, oh, I only have to go to school 1 year, so I'm going to go there so I can become famous and rich within my first year and not have to finish. And that's not how it should be. Another thing is the cost of athletics. Athletics are extremely expensive, and even though the school receives outside funding and grants, they still don't have enough money for them. Division I schools with a football program on average spent over $91,000 per student athlete, which is 7 times more than what they spent on the average student according to USA Today. And Division I schools without football programs spent over $40,000 per student athlete, 3 times that of what they spent on the average student. And because they spend so much money on their student-athlete programs, it causes a yearly tuition increase, so inflation for the average student. I may have nothing to do with athletics whatsoever, but I'm going to be paying for it. Even with all their outside funding and programs, they still can't afford their athletics. And another thing, and when it comes to student-athletes, is the peer pressure. They feel pressured that they don't need to think as highly of schools, according to USA Today, when they're around their peers. So they're just going to throw it off their shoulder and be like, oh, school doesn't matter, because they don't want to seem as too smart or nerdy around their peer athletes, which is a little ridiculous. And another thing is stress. According to Livestrong magazine, student athletes felt they were under more stress to go to their practice and get their homework done and make it to their classes and study for final exams. I mean, when you do have 3-4 practices a week or 1 or 2 practices a day, it would get stressful. So this just goes to show that student athletics really do take away from the heart of college. The whole point of going is to earn an education, earn a degree. And yes, athletics are fun. They're meant to be as a pastime, not a career. Now, some people, they do make them a career and they do great, which is wonderful. But 90% of people are not going to be famous. Not everybody can go pro. And that's where people get it wrong. They think, oh, I play college football or I play college basketball. People are going to see me. Scouts are going to see me and I can go pro. And that's not the case. It's rare. It's not rare, but not everybody's going to make it, and so they seem to brush off school whenever your college basketball career is over, you have nothing left. The only thing you're going to have left is just the memories of what you played. That's not going to help you get a job, support a family, continue on with life. Life costs money, and playing a sport and not getting a degree is not going to suffice your life once you're done. Like I said, it's hard for everybody to go pro, and if you can't make it, you can't make it, and that's not going to help you in the long run. So yes, I do believe student athletics take away from academics. Student athletics cost more money. The athletes are not determined when it comes to the school in general. It actually causes the school to get in trouble when it comes to them becoming under investigation for their athletes breaking their code of conduct, and it looks bad on the school. So I believe that student athletes do take away from academics.